When my grandfather passed, he left me 10 acres of wooded land just outside town. I hadn't visited in years, but when I finally moved out there to get away from the noise, I found something strange. A gated community had popped up next door, and a chunk of it had crept onto my land. That's when I met her. Karen, HOA president, clipboard in one hand, complaint letters in the other. She stormed down the gravel path before I could even step onto the porch. "You can't be here," she snapped. "This is private HOA property. No camping allowed." I looked around at the home my grandfather built, his name still carved into the beam above the door. "Actually," I said, "this is my property. I inherited it." Karen scoffed. "Well, it was abandoned for years. We incorporated it into our community green space. It's in our neighborhood plan." That was her first mistake. I went straight to the county clerk and pulled the land records. Sure enough, my 10 acres hadn't been sold, subdivided, or rezoned. But the HOA had built 3 community gardens, a walking trail, and even a playground partially on my land. That's when I discovered something even better. The entire HOA was leasing the land beneath their community center from a third-party owner, an old real estate trust. Guess who bought the trust last year? Me. They didn't even know who owned it until I walked into the next HOA board meeting and introduced myself as their new landlord. Karen turned white. I raised the lease on the community center. Then I served a formal notice to vacate every square foot encroaching on my land. The gardens, the trails, the playground, all fenced off within a week. Violators were trespassing. Karen tried to threaten legal action until she realized the land she was sitting on, planning events on, holding HOA meetings on, was mine. She raged. She called an emergency vote to remove me from the community. Too bad I was never part of it. Now, every month, the HOA cuts me a check. Karen signs it. And on the memo line, land rent. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just real estate.